G'day folks. I just wanted to do a quick video on corporations because the more I look, the more I think most people have no idea what a corporation is or how to identify it. So I'm going to put up a little graphic for you that I've put up myself. I've put together myself, and this will give you an idea of just the different classifications of corporations. Then we'll have a look at the identifiers of a corporation. So the heading at the top is Body Corporate Corporation, and I've split it into two classes, registered and not registered. Which can also, the registered can also be termed incorporated corporations or associations, and the not registered, unincorporated corporations or associations. So in the incorporated, you get your public companies and your private companies. Also, you can get churches, sporting clubs, those sort of things. Anyone that goes to the government and says we want to officially incorporate is registered and thereby incorporated. Now, unincorporated associations are less formal. You might be surprised to see that partnerships and trusts fall into those categories. Traditionally, partnerships and trusts fall into that category of unincorporated, in as much as they're not generally registered. Now, there are in some jurisdictions in the world registered partnerships. I'm not sure there's registered trusts, but there may be. But the bulk of partnerships and trusts are not registered and are not incorporated, which means that the documents aren't held in government files, okay, and not registered with them. That doesn't mean they don't have tax file numbers. It doesn't mean that with trust deeds, for example, they were not sent off for stamping at the stamp duties office. It doesn't mean the partnership doesn't have a formal partnership agreement. It just means it's not a registered with like the SEC in the States or ASIC in Australia. Okay, unincorporated churches would be in that category, and same with sporting clubs, whatever. Now, the key difference between the incorporated and the unincorporated is that the incorporated usually get what's known as limited liability, and the unincorporated do not have limited liability, which means with the limited liability incorporated entities or corporations, it means that if someone sues those corporations, they're limited to accessing the assets of the corporation itself. Generally, with the unincorporated associations or corporations, if the unincorporated association gets sued, then potentially all the members of the corporation, their assets are at risk, which is why a lot of churches and the like incorporate, to protect the members of the church and to protect the elders and what have you. Okay, so that's broadly it. But body corporate corporation is a broad banner, and it covers all of those entities. Okay, so that's just a broad background, just to give people a bit of an idea, because I think some people think a corporation is just a company. From my experience of talking to people, so I just wanted to point out that it's much more than just a company. Okay, so we'll have a look at this definition of corporation from Anderson's Law Dictionary. And I'm not going to read all the highlighted ones here. There's some I want to come back to later, but we'll just read the first couple here. A corporation. A private corporation is merely an association of individuals united for a special purpose and permitted to do business under a particular name. The term corporation shall be construed to include all associations. Okay. Let's go to another dictionary. Let's go to Ballantyne's Law Dictionary, 3rd edition. Corporation, an association of persons with a name of its own. And corporation aggregate, a collection of individuals united in one body. Okay. Black's Law Dictionary, 4th edition. Corporation, consisting of an association of numerous individuals, composed of individuals united under a common name. A corporation is a collection of natural persons joined together to accomplish some purpose. And then Bouvier's Law Dictionary. Corporation, body composed of individuals united under a common name. A corporation is a collection of many individuals united in one body in common. So there's a couple of key things there. What I'm going to do is mash all those, take all those things that I just read, mash them into one document and read them all one after another, so that you can see that in each of those definitions, I think you'll see that there's key elements that they're all mentioning. Different, saying it slightly differently, but ultimately with the same key elements. I just want to look at two other terms. That's the definition of corporation. I want to look at the definition of corporate purpose and also the definition of corporate name, because the law dictionaries also provide those. So here's the definition of corporate purpose. This is from Black's Law Dictionary. A purpose necessary to carry into effect the object of the creation of the corporate body. That's saying that it must have a purpose for the corporation to exist, if you know how to read that. And then from Ballantyne's Law Dictionary, corporate purpose, the purposes for which corporations may be organised. In other words, there must be a purpose for there to be a corporation. And now we just look at a couple of definitions of corporate name. The first one again from Black's Law Dictionary. Corporate name. When a corporation is erected, a name is always given to it. And by that name alone, it must sue and be sued. And then from Ballantyne's Law Dictionary, corporate name. The name of a corporation, such being an essential of existence as a corporation. So I want to look at those three terms now, and we'll just mash them all together, which you'll see there on the screen. So as we go through this, corporation, body composed of individuals united under a common name. A corporation is a collection of many individuals united in one body in common. An aggregate corporation consists of several persons who are united in one society, consisting of an association of numerous individuals, composed of individuals united under a common name. A corporation is a collection of natural persons joined together to accomplish some purpose. A private corporation is merely an association of individuals united for a special purpose and permitted to do business under a particular name. An association of persons with a name of its own. A collection of individuals united in one body, possessing indefinite succession under the corporate name. I think there's some commonalities there, which I want to draw out in a second, but we'll just do corporate name. When a corporation is erected, a name is always given to it, and by that name alone, it must sue and be sued. The name of a corporation, such being an essential of existence as a corporation. And corporate purpose. A purpose necessary to carry into effect the object of the creation of the corporate body. The purposes for which corporations may be organised. Okay, here's what, and maybe you'll need to go through and analyse it. Here's what I would like to suggest to you are the three elements of a corporation. We are talking about a corporation aggregate here, in contradistinction to a corporation sole, which is a slightly different entity, which I'll mention in just a second. But the three elements of a corporation are a collection of any number of people who come together for a common purpose and are called or known by a common name. Now, what I want to suggest to you is that anytime there is a collection of people with a common purpose, and the key really is a common name, then you have a corporation of some description. Just as a quick example, let's say you like knitting, and there's a few people in your street who like knitting, and you live in James Street, and you decide to have a meeting on Wednesdays to knit, and you call yourselves the James Street Knitters. You have now formed a corporation. You are a collection of people. You have a common purpose and you have a common name. So that is, in the eyes of the law, a corporation. Keep that in mind, because there's some corporations out there well, I'm going to identify a particular corporation that you'll be shocked to realise is a corporation, but I'm suggesting on the basis of that definition, that's exactly what it is. But that'll be in another video. I just addressed the issue of corporation soul. Remember on the movies when the king dies and they say, the king is dead, long live the king? That's really a statement that a corporation soul is in existence. Corporation soul is like generally what you might call an office, which exists in perpetuity, like the office of the king, or the President of the United States is probably a corporation soul in the eyes of the law. It's an office which exists in perpetuity and which many men may fill, but which continues on and is considered the one office throughout history, even though it's filled by many different men, and maybe one day a woman. Yeah, that's what a corporation is. I'm hoping that you can see that. I just thought I wanted to give a succinct little thing because I'm going to reference corporations in other videos, and the reason I'm going to say this is a corporation, did you realise this is a corporation and that is a corporation, is based on that definition, okay? On what I've pulled out there. So I'll leave you with this, that the way you can identify a corporation is it's a collection of people, assuming it's not a corporation soul, it's a collection of people with a common purpose and a common name. And as you'll note, I just want to stress the common name because it is the key to create a corporation. If those knitters came together and didn't adopt a name, that's just a bunch of people hanging out. So if you have a knitting group and you all come together on Wednesday nights, but you don't ever adopt a name, then you're just a bunch of people hanging out. It's the adoption of the name that completes the triumvirate that identifies a corporation in the eyes of the law. And there's other bits in those definitions that I think I'll put in a different video because I want to keep this short, which tell you clearly that the law will construe a corporation when those three elements are in existence. Anyway, I'll leave that there. See you, folks.